Hey y'all,
Hey
how,
guys,
how y'all doing?
how's it going?
Hope all is well. It's wonderful Monday morning, July the 29th. You ready? I'm ready for. Feels like I'm ready for fall. Like I'm excited
Oh
that
my
it's coming.
gosh, I got some candy corn yesterday. Woo!
Isn't that
Fall.
isn't that bad for your knee?
I don't remember reading that in the medical reports. I think it might be the opposite,
I, I
but
think. You sure?
I'll do my research.
You're one of those I do my own research people.
Yeah, I'll see
Okay.
what Google tells me. Dr. Google.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Welcome everybody to Maximize Monday. So glad you can join us today. We had a great time yesterday for
Hmm.
the anniversary. We celebrated 34 years yesterday um, of pastoring Bethany Church.
Yeah.
Pastor Dwayne Freeman was with us. I can talk on to yesterday at 11 a.m. service. We did a wonderful word on honor, and also Bishop Paul Morton was with us last night. If you
Hmm.
missed any of those um, services, we want you to go back, watch them, check it out, and hear what the Lord had to say to us yesterday. The choir did wonderful. The dance, the kids did wonderful.
Oh my
Almost
God,
brought a tear to my eye. Almost a thug tear almost came out.
cute. They're really cute. They did an excellent job.
Like my babies is growing up, and just all the other kids, everybody just did a wonderful job yesterday, and we are excited about that. If you didn't get a chance to sow in the Bishop's life, you can still do so. Um, on any of our given platforms. Click Bishop's Anniversary. Um, the Bible talks about double honor and muzzling not the ox that treads corn, meaning feed the one that's working. Help out and sow into his life, be a blessing to him for all the hard work that he does, the sacrifice he makes
Hmm.
to pastor this church and pastor us and do all that good stuff. Pray for us, lead us, guide us, teach us. All those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Sorry.
yeah, I don't know why I still feel like I'm waking up. So I'm trying to keep get all my bearings
Yesterday
together.
was as wonderful as it was
Mhm.
a long day, so I
Yeah.
get it.
Yo, literally, I was thinking. After when I got home last night. I was like, "Yo, we used to do this consistently. Not the anniversary, talking about just having like third services. We'd have
Hmm.
them a couple times a month. I'm like, how in the world did we do this? And
Yeah.
that's when we had 8 o'clock service, 11 o'clock service. Go home for a minute, and then go out at nighttime. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, we did this like. And after over, go out and be eating and coming in late. And I'm like, geez.
Mhm. Wonderful times, wonderful times.
I'm like, we used to do this consistently. But anyway, welcome everybody to Maximize Monday to our regulars. Hey Miss M and hey Hope I see you.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. Welcome everybody. If you're first time, type VIP in the chat. If you watch us consistently, do us a favor and just say hello to us. We'd love to see who's watching and who is on. We're excited about August is coming up this coming
Mhm.
Sunday. We are celebrating our Transforming Lives Month.
Yeah.
Talk about the prodigal son and continuing the unlimited you, discovering the you that God made you. And every now and then we veer off path a little bit. And
Hmm.
God is a loving shepherd, always guides us back. And we're going to talk about that in the month of August. Invite somebody to church with you. Know you need to be know that needs to be saved, dedicate their life, connect to the church. Um, we want you to invite somebody out. Don't even worry about what they got on. Tell people to come as they are. They got club clothes. It don't matter. Get in the house. Hey Karen, how you doing? And we believe that God's going to do great things. Anything else we got to share before we move on?
No, let's go.
Okay, good. We were talking a lot about. I don't remember what we talked about last week. I know we've been talking about a lot about transition and um, managing the emotions of a changing season.
Hmm.
It was crazy. Let me back up. I did a funeral a couple weeks ago for one of our members, longtime members, and it was interesting how, in the eulogy, brought up that there are some things that we we usually don't like change, and we only like it when it feels like it's in our benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Some things we are glad they change.
Yeah.
Things we hope never changes and they'll stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the Bible tells us that there's a time for this, there's a time for that, there's a time for this, time for so and so, time for mourning, time for crying, time for joy. And then when we go through the scheduled season that the Bible tells us is going to eventually happen, we often don't know how to manage it because we often think that the good times going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible lets us know in this life you're going to have trouble. But the Bible also says that you will always experience the goodness of God in everything.
Yeah.
So it's not that God is only good when things are going well, but God's goodness is in those challenging seasons too. And we've been talking about, here it is, mourning and allowing yourself to grieve, transition and change and moving on. But for those of you who are going through a dark season, eventually that will turn.
Mm-hmm.
And we might as well talk about that today. Well, we always get off topic anyway.
Always.
but that will turn. It doesn't stay night forever.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the tricks of the devil is to convince you that it's going to be nighttime forever, when no, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That's not a literal 24-hour or 12-hour. You could be at nighttime and it's 10 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden at 10 p.m. at nighttime, that morning comes in your life and joy comes in the morning. It's not based off a calendar. It's based off a season change.
Yeah.
But if you're in those challenging times, there is hope that times will change. And I love that scripture in Ecclesiastes, time for this, time for that. And it ends that he'll make everything beautiful or everything appropriate in its time.
Mm-hmm.
Not our time, his time.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to happen quick in my time, but it only happens in his time. And we just want to encourage people today that, the sun does shine.
Yeah.
You may feel like you're drowning, but your head can come above the water. And, you keep telling yourself, I can't make it. I can't do this. And it's crazy how you've been telling yourself you can't make it. You've been saying that for the past couple of weeks. And guess what you've been doing every day?
Mm-hmm.
Making it.
Yep.
But you have to have hope for your life. And even when it feels like all is hopeless, all is lost, you have to have hope. And that hope, let me qualify this. That hope isn't that everything's going to happen the way I want it to happen, when I want it to happen, the way I want it to happen. That hope is in God and everything.
Mm-hmm. That
sometimes the challenge is still there. The challenge didn't change, but you changed.
Right.
The situation is still somewhat the same, but you're different in it.
Yeah.
You're thriving, you're growing. And sometimes God changes you before he changes the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ramble. I'm just saying all this to say that there's some nuance, there's some balance that God is working on us as individuals.
Yeah.
And giving us joy no matter what goes on. And joy is like the absence of grief and sorrow and suffering and pain. It's learning to have joy in all that, to balance all of that out.
Right. That's the thing. And I feel like you said, there's so much nuance. It's never just black or white. And I think that's where we get caught up sometimes. And like you said, sometimes we're progressing and we don't realize it, right? Mm-hmm. I think we're so easy for us to kind of discount the journey that we're taking because it doesn't look the way we think it should look, right? But that doesn't discount everything that we're going through and the lessons that we're learning and the ways that we're growing and, all the things that we're piling on to make us stronger into a new person, maybe, so that, guess what? Sometimes these things come back around, but you won't have to go through it the same way because you've learned and you've gained new things and so on and so forth. So it's not just a black and white thing. And I think that sometimes, even though it's easier said than done, we have to change our perspective to see that.
Yeah. There's always a ray of hope. So, like, for instance, when Israel was getting ready to go into the Babylonian captivity, God told them, you're going to go here for 70 years, but 70 years, after 70 years, I'm going to get you out. and they're going in because they moved into idol worship. They were oppressing poor people. They were treating people wrong. They were acting unjustly. And God says he kept warning them and warning them. You keep this behavior up by worshiping the other gods and treating people wrong. This is not going to work out well for you. Good king, they start doing better. Get a bad king, do worse. Another bad king, do worse. And God kept warning them over and over again. You know, something's going to happen. So eventually, God said, I'm tired of y'all. I'm going to send you into captivity. And he uses Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, and all them were all prophesying around the same time. And he tells them in Jeremiah that you're going to go into captivity, but I'm going to get you out. And he says, I need you guys to understand something. I know the plans that I have for you. The plans of good, they're not of evil, to give you an end and an expectation.
Yeah.
Right? He's talking to a bunch of people that's getting ready to go into captivity and tells them, I know the plans I have for you. These plans are good. Now, they're going into captivity. Imagine your parents say, I'm putting you on punishment for 2 weeks and telling you, I got a plan for your life. It's good. It's not bad, right? You're looking like it's the end of the world. This is the worst thing possible.
Life is over.
Right? That scripture was written to people who are failing, who are failures, made mistakes. And God said, I still got a plan for your life. And when I bring you out, I got an ending for you. Whenever God pronounces a word of judgment, he always gives hope in that judgment. God's judgment is often restorative. You know, when it's at the place where it's done, that's because that's after you just acted like I'm finished with you. You know, not finished. You get what I'm saying. You know, but God always gives that ray of hope if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
The situation was the same, but he gave them hope while they're going in there. And imagine Jeremiah. Jeremiah was preaching. And imagine this. This helps some of y'all preachers out. He was preaching and the folk were still acting up. Because God didn't send him. He sent Jeremiah knowing that they were going to act up and wouldn't listen. How hard is that to be the person to warn everybody, knowing they not going to listen to you, but you still got to keep on preaching and you don't see no change in your you don't see no change in your preaching. For everybody. That's not everybody's like Jeremiah. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, God says, I know the plans I have for you. And you have to how do I know God's plans? Read his word. It's in there. I'm sorry, I ranted. I'm in a ranting mode today. Go ahead.
No, that's true. I think, like you said, we have to remember to look at God as our Father. Excuse me. And every good parent, as much as they want to love you and we want them to love us and all the sugary stuff, have to lay down the law because it's out of your protection. And they had the plans for you to keep you safe and to prosper and whatnot. So, yeah, I wish it were easier to kind of just jump onto the bandwagon and say, okay, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't want judgment. But when we do find ourselves in those seasons, to be open to what God is trying to tell us and then use that to have discernment and not to necessarily, because I feel like it can go a couple ways where one, you just feel super guilty and all hope is lost, right? You give up. And then also the other way can just to become bitter and then still go down that same bandwagon. But to just have an open mind is to take it as constructive criticism to grow and to do better.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff we in is our fault. It ain't nobody else's. We got ourselves in it. I know we love to blame everybody else, but you know, we're not responsible for what people do to us, but we sure are responsible for our response. We may not be responsible for everything that happens to us in life, but we are responsible for how we respond to it.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff we're experiencing is the consequences of our own behavior. And that's God's judgment. God's judgment is if that's what you want, that's what I'll let you have. That's really what his judgment is. I'm going to let you have it until you get tired of it and don't want it no more. I'll give you what you want. Sometimes his judgment is him turning you over to yourself.
Yeah.
And you get to experience what your passions and what your desires really get you. And God's protecting them. I'm not going to let you experience it yet. I'm giving you a chance to change. Okay, talking to you don't work. Some hardship don't work. I'm gonna let you have it.
Mm-hmm.
I told you this is what it was, and this is what's gonna happen.
Yep.
You kept wanting to do it. Boom. I'll let you have what you want.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, you go. You finish.
I'm done.
Well, I was gonna say that's the story of the prodigal son. You know, and what we're gonna learn about in these next few weeks. You know, all that glitters isn't gold.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, all the things that we think how life is gonna go is not gonna go that way. So, like you said, Pastor Nick, sometimes God, you know, at the end of that rope, for lack of better words, will give us what we're asking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it might not be what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is what you really want it that bad. I'll let you experience it. I love you, so I'm trying to protect you from it. But hey, I'll let you go through it. That is a judgment of God. But it's often restorative, like I said. It's often God using it as a means to correct us so we can choose better. Because the hope is after you get out of it, you won't go, the taste for it will be gone and you won't go back to it. Like you know how you know God is really changing you? When you think about doing something you used to do in your past and you say to yourself, I ain't gonna do it. It ain't worth it. Because last time you went through it, you like, that thing kicked my behind last time.
Yeah.
I am not going through that again. That's how you know you change it. Because you're recognizing that you can't always trust your passions, your decisions, what you want, because what we want isn't always good for us. God's like, my will is better than yours. Trust my will. Walk in that. But what he's trying to show us with Israel is that even if you fail, there's still hope for you. If you messed up, there's still grace for you. You may have to go through some consequences, but it's going to be okay.
Right.
We're going to work on you. And that's the thing. I'm about to shout right now. God promise I'm going to work on you. I'm going to form you. I'm going to shape you. I'm going to make you. I'm going to mold you. I'm going to work on you until you become who I want you to be. And that's the great hope that we have, is that we got a God that doesn't give up on us. Whew. Even if you messed up. And this thing about, when people talk about God in the Old Testament was, angry and dropping bombs, there's a whole lot of mercy and grace in the Old Testament. By the time God dropped the hammer, that was after years and years of warning. That wasn't like you messed up today and, he dropped the hammer. God was showing an amazing amount of mercy in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So this whole God was just judgmental and killing everybody and wrathful in the Old Testament.
Yeah. That lacks accountability too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they made one mistake and all of a sudden, boom, all was messed up. This was after years and years, king after king, judge after judge, all that stuff that God said, okay, it's a wrap. I'm going to send y'all into this. But there's a whole lot of grace and mercy. So if you failed in life, which all of us have, if you've messed up and you're dealing with the consequences of your choices, there still is hope for you.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the consequences are there for is to teach us what not to do and what to do later. We messed up on this. This is how I need you to do better for the next time around.
Yeah.
Learn your failures, learn from them, because then your failures turn into wisdom. It shouldn't have to take you 20 times to touch your toe to realize it hurts. You're going to get burned. I'll be right there. You're going to get burned. Okay. Learn from your mistakes. So I understand we all make mistakes. The problem is when you continue to make the same one over and over and over again. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes we make a mistake and we acknowledge it, but then we still make the same mistake again because of some other personal things that might be tugging at us. So learning to, I don't know, not create a new habit, but to, like you said, to die to yourself.
That's creating a new habit.
Yeah. So, and that's can be a process, but I don't know. You just gotta acknowledge it and get through it.
Yeah, acknowledge it, own it, and then work on changing. God isn't it. Transformation is not behavior modification, where God just, let me change my behavior. It's changing your being. So then your person, so your doing will change, changing me at the core of who I am. So as when I start to change, what I do starts to change and adjust.
Mm-hmm.
We have to allow ourselves to go through to identify those things. And I was thinking about this the other day. It goes back to Jacob wrestling with the angel. What's your name? My name is Jacob. I'm a trickster. I'm a hustler. God can't change what you're unwilling to acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You got to admit it to him. At least admit it to God and yourself. I'm unforgiving. I'm hateful. I'm envious. I'm jealous. I'm this. I'm that. Because God can't. He won't change what you're unwilling to admit. But you got to acknowledge. I impulse shop. I stress. I'm stubborn. I don't like being corrected, and I'm defensive. I'm insecure. Da, 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 da. How can you start on transforming who you are if you're unwilling to acknowledge that?
Yep.
And one of the best things you can do is if you're wrong and somebody calls you on, just, I'm wrong. My bad. I'll work on it and be better.
Mm-hmm.
That actually saves you a lot rather than trying to justify.
Yeah.
And try to work your way around it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you know you're wrong. Our pride won't allow us to admit, I messed up. Let me take ownership of it and make a change. Because those moments of correction are just simply there to become better.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, sometimes our guilt and shame and our embarrassment gets in the way of true transformation and change.
Right.
Like Adam and Eve and blaming everybody else. The woman you gave me. Well, the servant, this, or that. Rather than saying, you know what? Okay, God, I messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just
it could be. I feel like that's one of the hardest things to do, but has an easier outcome.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It just imagine if Adam and Eve didn't run away when they heard the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And God said, what happened? You know what? Look, we messed up.
Mm-hmm.
You told us not to mess with fruit. We did it. We failed. They still would have got kicked out of the garden. But, but at least they're, but again, when you live in guilt and shame, you're always trying to hide. And we always blame shift and always blame something. My thing is like this, and this may be too pragmatic. When we do something wrong, we often blame the situation, the circumstance, people, rather than just admitting, yo, I messed up. And watch this. The reasoning doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
If I was having the worst day possible, totally upset, totally mad, and I walked up to you and out of my anger, just cussed you out or smacked you or something like that, why I did it doesn't matter to you, right?
You did it. Yeah.
The fact I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Does the reasoning change what I did?
Mm-hmm.
No. But what we try to do is try to get people to get hooked on how we feel, not what we did.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you feel me, then you'll excuse what I did. I tell people, I understand why you feel the way you feel. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I understand why you did what you did. I understand your reasoning, but guess what? You're still wrong. I get it. Still wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. The truth is in the pudding. Like, if you did it, you did it.
Yeah. If I shoot your toe off, does my reasoning matter? I'm just saying, does my reasoning matter at that point?
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, does it really matter why? But adults usually try to minimize what they do by getting people to buy into how they feel and why, rather than just being straight up. My reasoning doesn't matter. I messed up.
Yeah, that's funny to me because when you do that, you're trying to give reason. You're trying to give someone else reason into your feelings, when in the moment you're not able to reason through your feelings before making an offense to someone else.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Look at the Lord using you. That makes complete sense. It's you don't even make sense to you in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you want somebody else to make sense of something crazy? But we do that all the time. And because what adults do is we do that, but we also, I knew we was gonna get off topic, but we also try to focus on the person's response, not what we
Mhm.
did to create said response.
Mhm.
And I ain't talking about no extreme stuff, but but I messed up, but you didn't have to yell at me like that, or you didn't talk to me like that. Well, guess what? If you never did what you did, the person would never had to,
Right.
even if the response was a little overboard. You also got to check what you did to create said situation.
Mhm.
I ain't validating no crazy like violence towards somebody because of something. I ain't talking about that stuff.
Mhm.
But oftentimes, adults, instead of us taking ownership, we mitigate what we did by focusing on the person's response to what we did.
Yeah.
Anywho, but
Yeah.
there's always hope.
Right.
Because it's 12:30. I gotta get these, check on the kids real quick.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're fine out there. They got them out there, but still, there's always hope. And if you can do that self-examination, that's when real transformation change can come. What did I do? Did I cause the situation? Or did I make a situation that I didn't cause worse by my response? And we have to learn to make those assessments so we can start to gain wisdom from it. So the
Yeah.
same situation won't happen again. All right, I'm done.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, we can probably go into a different topic next month. Start next month.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's going on this week?
Tonight we have our Embrace class at 7 p.m. That is both in person as well as online. So if you're in the area, we want you to come out for that at 7 p.m. here at Bethany with Bishop as we just get more knowledge, right? So great opportunity. Again, it is online, but we really want you guys to be there with us in person. And then, of course, we have our Word Impact on Wednesday, starting with our 12 p.m. noonday service with Pastor Nick, and then at 7 p.m. with Bishop. Okay. And then I think the next thing is On Point on Saturday at 9 a.m. So there's been a lot going on. It's a great opportunity for you to call in and have a conversation with Bishop and Pastor Nick on Saturday mornings. So the noonday service is on Wednesdays in the Harvest Hall, right, Pastor Nick?
Mhm.
Yep.
It's in person.
Right across. Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of course, next Sunday we are starting the celebration of our Transforming Lives Month. So again, this is a great opportunity for you to spread the love of God and to invite someone to worship with you and to get all of that. Sorry, my dog Buster has a lot to say right now.
A little mutt.
Exactly. But it's a great opportunity for them to just experience everything firsthand. So each one bring one. Let someone know about all the good things that are happening here at Bethany so that we can all worship together. So we have our 8 a.m. virtual service and then our our 11 a.m. in-person experience as well. So yeah, that's what's coming up this week.
Good. So glad you all joined us today. We'll see you on Monday again for another Maximize Monday. God bless y'all. The Lord be with you. And we'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.